G'day YouTube, welcome back to my channel. So I'm back working on trees again. It's been fun, just giving myself some time to do some trees. This is a little shimpaku juniper. Now you know I have done, if you've been following my videos and channel for a while now, there's over 350 videos on my channel, but you would have seen me do bend and twist, bend and twist, bend and twist. I talk about growing good stock and bending and twisting shimpaku junipers mainly into nice shapes and contorted shapes over the years, so you have better stock to deal with. This is like a round two. This tree I've done, this was an air layer that I'd taken off a tree maybe 3 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago now probably. And I've bent it and twisted it up, so you can see some of the shape in the base trunk. You can see all the nice twists and so on. It's still too young for me to style. What I did notice was the wire started to cut in, so what that means is I need to take the wire off and reapply some wire. So I've saved you the watching me do that. So now I'm at the point of I've rewired the main trunks. Now what I want to really show you is that this is a process. You know, it's not like immediate bonsai and have an immediate result. So this has now two sized trunks. You know, there's a trunk here and there's a nice trunk here too. I don't know what this tree will become yet, but I'm keeping both trunks for now. This tree could fatten up over the next 2 or 3 years, 5 years, I'm not sure. And it could transform into a totally different tree. So we just don't know what it's going to do just yet. But what I can tell you is, see how, for example, this trunk here has some absolute beautiful movement already. It's got some really nice backwards, forwards, really natural looking movement actually. It's probably the better trunk than this slightly thicker one that's there. But you can see I've wired everything up, wired the main branches anyway. I haven't wired really the small branches yet. I'll probably just let them go. But I haven't trimmed the tops in here. You can see they're long and leggy. That's so important. So that continues to grow next season. I'll feed the tree pretty heavily as I do to try and encourage the growth. But really it's just, I just wanted to talk about the next level, next step. So never think that we've done the first wiring. Now it's actually, I've taken the old wire off and reapplied so I can actually create more interest. So for example, this trunk has got some beautiful movement, as I said. It goes backwards, sideways, into blah, blah, blah. And then it's got this long straight bit now, so I've wired that up. So the next step is, and it's actually got a small front one too. So now you just be creative, come up with ideas and look at the tree and try to think what you want to try and do. Have a heavy enough gauge wire to twist it up. So I'm potentially thinking, you know, this could be something quite interesting, could even be a small cascade of some sort. So I'm just trying to wire, I've just wired the first branch in it, downwards and around and twisted it up. So there was a small branch down here that I've just put a bent around, twisted it, contorted it, and now I'll kind of squish it back in a little bit to really get the bends into it. So it's important to try and get those bends in. Be creative, don't be shy, you know, don't be too hesitant. You want to get some interest happening in the tree. So I push that back in. Now I want to deal with this top bit. So you can see it's straight, this bit's straight, this good bit's really nice and twisted, this bit's straight. So just don't be shy, be creative, you know, try and think of what it could look like or what would you want to see it in the future. So I've contorted it down a little bit. Now I'm trying to twist it back up and around. I'm trying to create some more interesting movement. Just take your time. I'm trying to get the movement happening this way. I don't want it to go straight back up and go back this way because the whole trunk's moving this direction. So I want to try and create something in that flow. So remember, you've got to go sideways, left, right, but also go back and forward. Okay, very important to get all the 3 dimensions in. So you can see I haven't cut anything off it. I just want it to grow and contort and naturally twist up, and we'll see what it eventually comes up to be. All right, so that's really now, that's super contorted, super twisted up. Left everything alone, but you can see all nice contorted. It goes back quite a bit, so I can shrink the height. Goes back and so on. So that's one bit done. And now I'll just do the same thing to the other side. I'll do the first lower branch to really try and twist that up and make it a bit more interesting because it's really straight, that first bit, that lower branch. And because I've used a heavy enough gauge wire and I've kept the coils pretty close, they almost act like a tourniquet for the branch, so it won't like raffia and so on. Because when you have the coils so tight, it kind of acts like that, which is good. So it saves me from doing anything too crazy. Oh, breaking anything. Just simple little process of this will create a better tree in a few years' time. That's why it's important to have lots of stock or lots of things you're working on. Never have one or two things, you always have lots of things. It's really important. So contorting this, now I've got really two contorted trunks, twisted down, bent down. Ideally I think I like the skinnier trunk better. We're going to have to, you can't really make anything out of it, just it's all branches everywhere, but you see this bit pointing upwards, you see these bits pointing upwards. They'll want to go to the sun, grow stronger, get these guys growing, get this grower going, you know, let them really take off. Don't cut anything on this tree, especially the tips. I mean, if you have dead branches, yeah, fine, get rid of them, but leave the tips alone so they can just go on strong. Don't touch the roots. This nice small pot is actually quite good for it. Because it will absorb all the nutrients when I feed it. The nutrients won't escape as much. If you have a huge pot and the roots are this small, the nutrients are going to sit everywhere. It's not really going to absorb it. When you've got a small pot like this full of roots, all those roots will take up that fertilizer and sustenance, and that's what I think anyway. Might work, might not. If you've got a huge growing bed, you know, different story. You can chuck these in growing beds and let them grow, but at the moment I don't have anything like that, so I just have little, you know, pots like this that I can try and contain the growth and try and speed up the growth of these trees. If you can flatten the root system, that'd be even better, but I don't have the space or room to do that. But anyway, little, you know, that's the next step. I always will talk about steps in bonsai. It's never an immediate process. Unless you've got a nursery and you've got thousands and thousands of trees, you've got to turn them out and spit them out. But if you're just not a backyard grower like myself, you really got to, you know, have projects and do step by step and create the right stock and create the right trees and create the right everything. So, you know, from air layer from a couple of years ago to first heavy wiring, you know, now this is the second wiring, producing a much more interesting tree. It's that little step-by-step process. This trunk isn't thick enough yet to create a nice tree. Probably needs a couple more years growth, and hopefully that really starts to fill in and come up really nice. So that's what I want to talk about today. I hope you guys found that useful and realistic. You know, it's as I said, don't have thousands of trees. If you've got a few, 10 or so, you want to do this process. Yeah, I do have lots of air layers that I've created over the years, maybe 30, 40, 50, I don't even, quite a few. It's good to have those little projects, but you go and visit them every year, every 6 months, every couple of years to see how they're going. And this is just an example. It's a really nice, simple, beautiful movement in the lower half of the trunk. The top half's now got away, and I've got to make that same adjustment to the tree to get them looking the same as the lower trunk, more interesting trunks, more twisted up. You know, eventually maybe I'm thinking either I air layer one of those trunks off, or that one of those trunks will be a piece of deadwood. You know, really nice feature with the other trunk living. That's an option too. So if you grow the right stock, you give yourself lots of options, and you can do it. Anyone can do this. This is not hard. Have the right thickness of aluminium I use for these kind of projects. Use kind of almost the same thickness as the trunk, the wire, so it really helps to hold the bark in place. It doesn't snap, the branches don't snap, and so on. So, you know, guys, that's enough of me talking. I know I've talked about this topic many times, but if you're new to the channel, you'll see that this is what I like to do: create interesting stock to really twist and bend up and contort to make much more interesting trees. Like, it looks like nothing right now, but in a few years' time, it should be a real nice tree. Alright guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.